podcast party. Memories of Holdenshire.
My name is Tlingbet. I woke up today at the bottom of a crypt with no memory of where I've been or what I've been doing for the past month. It's possible I may have joined a cult. I'm on the run with 3 other people who also may or may not be in the cult. A halfling named Belton tried to smuggle us out of Northminster, but now our wagon is being chased by guards, and I have become an accessory to crimes.
So the 4 of you are now racing down the street, headed for the gate. You've got some guards that are shouting and screaming and running after you, and I'm going to describe to you what you see between yourself and the gate. This is a long street. It's about 250 feet long between where you are in the wagon and the gate itself. And you see the gate 250 feet away from you is this enormous double-sided door. And it looks like it can be pulled closed by the efforts of 2 guards who you see have been sort of awakened by this ruckus and are now rushing to the gate to see if they can pull it closed. This is going to be a chase. You have 6 rounds to get to freedom. As your eyes scan from the captain of the guard, Tariq, to just behind you, you see that these guards that are running to catch up to your wagon have stopped momentarily by a set of 4 horses, and they look like they're mounting them and are ready to pursue. Okay, let me give you also a little bit of a description as to what you see between yourself and the gate, because it's not just a straight road to the finish. Between yourself and the gate are a couple of obstacles. There is about 60 feet from where you are in the wagon, a rather sizable wagon that seems to be full of something. You're not quite sure if it's barrels or some other sort of goods, but it's parked sideways in the middle of the street. You see one of the guys who's sort of nearby to the wagon. It looks like he's pulling something off the wagon and is absolutely shocked when he sees your horse-drawn wagon come careening down the street and is unable to turn his wagon at all. The horses are just standing there shocked, and you are about 60 feet from them. Beyond that wagon, there seems to be sort of a crowd of milling people. You're not quite sure what that's about. That's about 120 feet from you, and that is a crowd that takes up the entirety of the street. So how you're going to get passed around over them, good luck. Beyond that crowd of people, then there's probably another 60 or 70 feet, and you see the doors leading you to freedom. There are, of course, those 2 guards that are attempting to pull the gate closed, so you'll have to figure out a way, hopefully, get through without destroying the wagon or just being trapped inside in general.
People's hopes and dreams.
At the 20 mark in initiative, the wagon itself will go another 20 feet, but you cannot stop the wagon while the vehicle has momentum. Clearly, because you can't just stop on a dime.
So we'd have to slow it first, brake, and then
Exactly.
stop.
You'd have to hit the brakes and then hit stop.
And only the driver can do that.
That's correct.
Brake gets rid of our momentum.
Our friend Belton has been speared through the leg and is bleeding badly. He's lost control of the vehicle, unfortunately.
And we have momentum.
That's correct. Since it is 20 in the initiative, I'm going to just move the wagon 20 feet forward. And now it is Gwyven's turn.
Gwyven's going to look at wounded Belton and then at his companions and say, "Help him." And then he's going to try to take control of the wagon.
You grab onto the reins of the horse in front of you, and you have an action and a bonus action. What do you wish to do?
I want to maneuver.
You go forward 20 feet, and then you can make up to a 90-degree turn, either left or right, and then another 90-degree turn, left or right.
So glancing left and right, do either of those roads look clear?
No, they are dead ends. You see that you are passing a couple of alleyways at the end of this block, and they are just dead ends with stone walls.
Is there any clearance on either side of the stopped wagon?
Yeah, there is. You'd have to sort of go up a little bit onto the sidewalk, but yes, indeed, you would be able to drive around the wagon.
It looks like I would be able to drive around the back of the wagon easier than in front of 2 horses that are in front of the wagon. So I'm going to aim for that way. So about a 45-degree turn turn. I'm going to try to turn the wagon and go around and then move forward a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do maneuver, which is basically that you are going to move it 20 feet forward and change the wagon's facing 2 times during the 20 feet.
Yeah, so I guess you're going to turn it 45 degrees and then move 20 feet.
Move 20 feet and then angle it back straight so I can go around the back of the wagon.
I got you, 100%. All right, that's your bonus action. What do you want to do with your action?
Wow, cool. Are there like things that go across the top of the road, like streamers and banners and things like that? You know what I mean?
Roll me a D100. Let's see if I'll give you a 50% chance that there are.
63.
Yeah, I'd say that there's like a line of string with some flags hanging down from them.
So he's going to take his sword as he passes, and he's going to just reach up real quick and try to cut them to try to make some stuff in the road.
So just like a line of flags in the road.
Yeah, I'm hoping like the strings and the wires and stuff will come down and hopefully block the road a little bit. I don't know if it'll work, but that's all he's got.
Okay, so basically there's like a line of flags across the street. The guards will probably have to, it's a minor obstacle. They'll probably just have to jump over that on their horses in order to get past it. We're up to Mercury.
I look down to Belton and I say, hang on, Belton, you're all right. And I would like to cast Healing Word on him. So he will recover 5 hit points.
Nice.
And then, okay, I've used a leveled spell. I will turn towards the crowd of people that we see down the road on the other side of the parked wagon, and I will cast Thaumaturgy on myself. I put my hand to my own throat, and I clear it, and I cup my left hand in front of my face, and I say, mad, cursed, diseased runaway horse, very contagious and on fire, clear the road. I make my voice boom 3 times its normal volume.
Rummy Nose, which is the name of the horse. Like, yeah. I can only imagine like Rummy Nose like understands what the hell you're saying. Like horses can't speak, but who says that they can't understand your language? And he's like, in his mind, he's like, on fire? What the hell?
Rummy Nose, get into character.
I would say, make a deception check.
That is a dirty 20.
The front part of the crowd, which has definitely heard you, because there's so much noise in whatever's going on over there, turns towards your wagon, looks at the rumbling cart that's coming towards them, and begins to just peel out onto the sides of the street. The back half of the crowd seemingly hasn't heard you because they're not moving, but the first part of the crowd is definitely gone.
Okay, cool. That's my turn.
Violet, it is now your turn.
Okay, so she saw this. She saw some people move. Some people didn't get the memo. Okay, so we have guards behind us also.
Sure do.
We seem to be pretty much evenly spaced quite far away from both dangers, so Violet's just gonna sit tight and keep her eyes open and see what there is that she can do to help on her next turn, because right now she doesn't really have anything helpful in the interim to do.
It is now the guards' turn. So there are 4 guards. They are all mounted on draft horses, so they will move their speed on their horses 40 feet towards you. And then seeing as that they're still behind, they're going to dash. So all of these 4 horses are pretty close to being converged on your wagon. You have 2 guards that are essentially right on the corners of the wagon, right next to you, Violet, and right next to you, Talingbet, and the other 2 are sort of edging a little bit to the side. But because they dashed, they have no action. Talingbet, it is now your turn.
Right, well, this is far too close. Talingbet, likewise, is really not feeling the whole killing guards thing. So he's actually going to end up pulling out his net. He kind of unfurls this fishing net that he's had over his shoulder. And he's going to go ahead and he's going to throw that at the guard that is right off the corner of the wagon next to him.
All right.
And he crit fails on that toss.
Oh,
Talingbet is he's sitting there like, I swear I know how to use this thing, I swear.
Whoosh, the net just goes right over one of their heads.
Yeah.
Oh no. Because you guys did do a maneuver, you do not have momentum. Move on to Gwyven, who's driving the wagon.
Gwyven is going to slap the reins and move that wagon and horse 60 feet straight forward.
Yeah, that's a head full. You're still positioning yourself and getting ready for an attack. You're not turning your backs to these guards. So I'd say that if you move 60 feet forward, yeah, no attacks of opportunity. That's totally fine. So you'll go 60 feet forward and then gain momentum.
as we're going past this other wagon, what's the guy pulling out of it? Can I tell?
They're small, they're round, they're green. And he looks past you and he says, "Oh, thank goodness."
Well, no.
And he holds the object in his hands, tight to his chest, and lovingly caresses. It may, in fact, be a vegetable.
Is there a way that I can use my sword to either cut like a rope or something on the back of the wagon to make some of the stuff fall out?
Oh, good idea.
You know what? I like the idea. I'll go ahead and say, because you're driving at full speed, this is going to be a disadvantage because you're trying to whack it going 60 feet in 6 seconds. That's 10 feet a second. Good luck.
Do it.
Am I making an attack?
You are.
The first roll's a 12, and the second roll's a 20, so a 12.
A 12 is not enough. I'm so sorry. You swing. You were just like, you reach out your arm, and if you were just a little bit, like if you had the arms just like maybe like 6 or 7 inches longer. Yeah, I did that. I said that. Yeah, you're welcome.
Do I get a cabbage on the end of my sword?
You know what? I'll allow you to get a cabbage. You're welcome.
And I think that's my turn.
That is indeed. Mercury, you're up.
Okay, I stand up at the front of the wagon and I spread my arms out wide. Hey, everybody, move!
Yes.
Thaumaturgy again. And I say, by order of Captain Tariq Crestvale, clear the streets. This horse is cursed. Clear the streets. Don't let it touch you. Boom it 3 times as loud again to try to disperse the crowd.
Go ahead and make a deception check.
Only a 6 this time.
Oh no! I think that the crowd in the back looks at this wagon coming, and even though your voice is booming and shouting the name of Tariq Crestvale, the crowd is either in disbelief or just is completely shocked, just like deer in headlights, as you guys come just screaming down the street. They see no guards, they see no soldiers, they just see you at the top of the wagon with your hands cupped around your mouth, screaming that.
It's your funeral.
Oh, God. Oh, boy.
Yeah, Thaumaturgy was my full action, so that will be my turn.
Violet, it's your turn now.
I don't really have anything I can do at this point other than kill people, so I'm just going to hold on. I'm going to wait.
The guards they're horses, I should say. They're going to have to make dexterity saving throws to hop over this line that you've dropped in the middle of the street here. I'll roll each one to see if any of them get under I'll call it a DC 13. Oh, there goes one. That's a 9. So that horse just topples to the street. Its rider just goes flailing. The third one rolls a 4. So 2 of them just go boom, boom. And the fourth one, a 17. So 2 go down and 2 stay up. I will say that they move their entire movement 40 feet straight forward towards the cart. One of the 2 has to sort of jump over the cart with the cabbages. And of course, the cabbage seller stands there, his mouth agape, his eyes wide as this horse vaults over. It's going to make an athletics check, which is a strength-based check. Here we go. DC, I'll say, is 15. It's a cart, it's huge, and gets a 17. So yeah, it's like Free Willy. The horse just whoosh, jumps over the cart and over the cabbage seller. You guys went 60 feet, they went 40 feet, so they're about 20 feet behind you, actually. Talingbet, it is now your turn.
Talingbet now has no net, and he kind of just looks around at his companions. They're still chasing us. They're still chasing us. Talingbet, realizing that he has really no way to slow them down otherwise, is going to try and cause some massive property damage. Being a Dragonborn, he has his Dragon Breath weapon, which is an arc of Draconic Lightning, because he is blue.
Cool.
He's going to aim that Dragon Breath at the side of this building that we are running along the edge of as we're running down this street, and unleash his breath weapon on the building in hopes of causing some rubble and stuff to fall into the street and slow down our pursuers.
I like that. Obviously, the house can't make a dexterity saving throw, so go ahead and roll the damage.
Awesome. So that is 5 lightning damage to this house. So yes, he unleashes his lightning breath on this house.
Explosion! The side of this particular building caves in. There's an enormous sort of cloud of rubble, which spills into the street. That's going to cause a little bit of a more than a minor obstacle to these guys who are chasing close behind. They're going to have to either dodge around it or jump over it with a dexterity check.
Tlingbet is going to roar loudly, having done all of this, but other than that, he is done.
Because you guys did a head full, you will, now that it is the third turn, get momentum. So you will go 20 feet towards this crowd, some of whom now see your cart coming to them, begin to disperse, but there are still just an enormous mob of people all trying to clamber over each other to try to get away. So what you do, you're 10 feet away from them. I don't know what's going to happen at this point in time. Gwyven, you're driving this thing. What are you going to do?
Gwyven, he doesn't want to hit people, so he is going to do the best he can. He's going to brake. I know I still move forward, but I don't really have a choice.
Yeah, you will go 20 feet
And he'll
forward.
be screaming the whole time, get out of the way, get out of the way!
That said, you will go into this crowd.
Well, you did say I cleared the closer half of them with the thaumaturgy.
That's true. You did clear the closer half. The back half is still there, so it's not as many people, but there are still some. Let me just see if I can make them have some dexterity saving throws to get out of the way of this cart.
I feel like it's kind of natural selection at this point because they've had a lot of warnings and they're just sort of milling about while a cart comes right at them.
Oof, that's a 9. You run into them. Luckily, you do not kill anyone, but the entire crowd is absolutely either enraged or in horror. So you have gone 20 feet forward and you have lost momentum. You still have an action.
I'm going to wait for one of the guards to get closest to us, and I'm going to throw the cabbage at him.
Mercury, it's your turn.
How many people are still blocking us from moving forward?
Probably like 3 or 4.
I'm just gonna scream at them, move! and wave my hands intimidatingly in their direction, like I'm going to curse on you. Thaumaturgy them again.
Like they're like, oh, we've been touched by the cursed horse. We're doomed. They just scream at each other. Go ahead and make an intimidation check with advantage because they've been touched by the cursed horse.
Yeah, I warned them this would happen. First attempt is a 19. I do have advantage. Second attempt is a 5. So we'll go with a 19.
Absolutely. They move as quickly as their little feet can carry them and run off to the side. Luckily, no one has been run over. But at this point in time, you have now cleared this obstacle.
That is my action.
Violet, it is now your turn.
Well, this has been bracing. I'm just going to take the dodge action and see how this goes.
Since the cart has slowed down, the guards will now come up, but they're going to need to jump over this blasted rock that Tlingbet put in their way. They're going to make a dexterity check to jump over this rubble. The first one attempts to jump over the rubble, but its hoof gets caught in a hole in the street and topples over, and the guard goes flying from the saddle. The last mounted rider, that one falls as well with a dexterity check of 9. So absolutely, both horses have now lost their riders and they are in the street having fallen 10 feet and are clearly in a bad way.
Well done, Tlingbet.
You are not being pursued by anyone. However, there are still the guards at the gate and they have crossbows on. Tlingbet, it is your turn.
Tlingbet just kind of looks back at Mercury. Yes, this is bad. And looks forward towards those 2 guards by the gate. And do they seem to be doing anything to try and close the gate, or are they just aiming their crossbows at us?
No, they have crossbows on their backs. They haven't taken them off to start to use them. They're just pulling on the gates to try to close them. You probably would guess it would be another 18 seconds before they would have them closed.
I turn to Tlingbet and I say, don't you always find yourself thinking in units of 6 seconds at a time?
Does seem a very useful denomination of time. Yeah, Tlingbet just kind of looks ahead and at present doesn't really have anything to do about these guards closing the gates. So I think for the moment, he is likewise going to take the dodge action.
Because you've slowed down the wagon, you've lost momentum, so there is no momentum. Gwyven, it is now your turn.
Hiya! I'm going to drive the horse straight forward, 60 feet.
Okay, a head full.
A head full.
And you gain momentum once again. Anything for your action?
I did not throw my cabbage, so I'm going to hold my cabbage. Once again, if any of the guards get close, I'm going to throw my cabbage at them.
You're going to ready your cabbage action.
Ready my cabbage.
Mercury.
So I see the guards are ahead of us, starting to pull the gate closed. I point towards one of them, and my eyes glow, and I sort of wiggle my finger in a jaunty fashion towards him back and forth, and then I say, dance! And I'm casting command on him, and he will need to make a DC 13 wisdom saving throw.
He missed it with a 12.
Instead of pulling on the gate anymore, he must spend his next action performing a rather festive tango.
A tango?
Guard post. Tango, yeah.
By himself. I love it.
By himself, yeah. Solo tango.
Okay.
It's so sad.
That is my action.
Violet.
We're not hurting them, right?
No, please don't kill anyone.
Okay, well, I'm dodging then. Just stay out of the way.
It is now the guards' turn. Now, of course, there are the guards behind you who have been thrown off their horses, but they still have their spear. Oh, you are 5 feet longer than a spear's maximum distance, which is 65 feet. Unbelievable.
Gwyven's excellent driving.
Fantastic, yes.
In the meanwhile, the 2 guards at the gate, the one turns, stops pulling the door closed, turns, and then as if the sounds of a lilting tango have entered his mind, he puts out his arm, he puts one hand on his chest and begins to saunter across the street 30 feet towards the other guard. The other guard looks at him like, what are you doing?
I love it. It's so good.
And then he sees the wagon coming down the street, pulls out his crossbow, and instead of pulling the door closed, so it'll give you another turn, he fires a single shot at who he can see in the front of the wagon. So it's either Mercury or Gwyven. I'm going to roll a d2. 1 for Gwyven, 2 for Mercury.
Never shoot the driver. That's bad luck.
That's Gwyven, so that is indeed bad luck. That's a 1. That's a 9. He missed. And that is their turn. Talingbet, it is your turn now.
So Talingbet is still in the back of this wagon, and he's just watched this whole thing with the guards out the back, thinking that they were going to throw a spear after having this horrible, fall from their horses. And he sits there and he's, sorry, we're terribly sorry. I hope you're okay. And without any way to aid this situation other than, actually injuring these poor guards who are just doing their job, he hunkers down in the back of the wagon and is gonna dodge again.
We are now at turn 5. You do get momentum because you went ahead full, so that's another 20 feet. And now, Gwyven, it's up to you.
If I go 60 feet straight forward, it looks like I'm going to hit the door, the big gate.
Correct.
So I'm going to drive 20 feet ahead, and then I'm going to turn 20 degrees, and then go another 20 feet.
You're now pretty much in the center of the road right now.
And then the guard that's just started dancing, I'm going to throw my cabbage at him. What do I roll for a cabbage?
I'd say just make a dexterity check.
Ooh, a 22.
So the guard, as he reaches out his hand and touches the other guard's hand, who actually was kind of into it, he's like, what's going? He sort of shakes his helmeted head and he's like, what's going on? He turns around at the wagon just zooming past him, and poof, that cabbage goes straight into his face.
And that's my turn.
Fantastic. Mercury, it is now your turn.
The gate is not really being held closed by anything, right? He just kind of walked away from it. So, can I use thaumaturgy to cause an unlocked door to fly open? Can I just bang it open all the way so it's not in our way?
I like this idea. Yes, I will say absolutely you can do so. Even though it's a very large door, and it is a door, and it is closing. So I would say sure.
So yeah, I just sweep my left arm out like Gandalf towards the door that is half closed and clench my fingers a little bit and push it back open so it's out of our way. That is my action.
Violet, you're up.
I just want to yell to the guards.
If you want to dance with each other, you should just do it. Don't let this stop you. It was beautiful. It was rather life-affirming, actually.
And I'm just going to dodge.
That said, it is now the guard's turn. So the guard who has come out of this dance reverie, or whatever you want to call it. Dance trance. I love it. Doesn't like the fact that you guys are escaping, so will attempt to shoot at the closest one to him, who I believe is Mercury. That's a 14.
You notice that Mercury's wearing no armor whatsoever. He just sort of has his long blue coat on and sort of purple and blue, rather fancy garments on underneath. That crossbow bolt is just going to stick like an inch away from Mercury, like it's stuck in something invisible in the air, and then just topple to the ground without harming him.
Ooh.
Cool.
That's cool.
The trickster is protecting Mercury with a defensive blessing. As long as I don't wear any armor and don't carry a shield, my armor class is 15.
Cool.
Amazing.
Nice.
Very cool.
Violet, you have convinced the other guard not to fire. I think that his heart is aflame.
Make love, not war.
And the other two guards are way too far behind to be of any use in this fight. To Talingbet.
Talingbet is likewise still just watching this chaos that has ensued behind us. And goodbye. We're not cultists. Sorry about your house. And continues to dodge.
The momentum brings your wagon another 20 feet, which is completely outside the confines of the city gate. So, because of that, you have succeeded in escaping from Northminster.
Woo!
Yeah.
Right.
I'm so glad I was here to help.
Well driven, Gwyven. I sit down heavily on the trap and I pat Gwyven on the back. That's well done. That's some nice drivesmanship.
Yeah. Keeps going.
Belton takes the spear that he's able to now remove from his leg, having been healed by Mercury, tosses it back into the road and says, I didn't think we were going to get into that one. Good driving! Taps you on the shoulder, Gwyven. Gwyven, driving. Get it? Driving, Gwyven.
I do get it. It rhymes like a garbage pail kid.
I don't know what that is.
What's a garbage pail, kid?
I want that garbage pail kid card now.
Driving Gwyven. Hi, everybody. Hope you're enjoying Podcast Party Memories of Holdenshire, presented by Cast Party and EN Publishing. For this series, we're using LevelUp Advanced 5th Edition. For more info on these cool new rules and enhancements for your 5th edition D&D games, visit levelup5e.com. The show will be back shortly for the second half. Right now, you can book a 3 to 4 hour one-shot online adventure for 3 to 7 players with one of our amazing professional dungeon masters for just $60. I can't think of a better holiday gift than friendship, fun, killing monsters, finding treasure, and saving the day. If there's somebody in your life who would enjoy an adventure, you can book it now by emailing us at info@cast-party.com before January 1st. Mention Holiday One Shot in the subject line. You can also buy this gift for yourself, of course. We won't judge. If you're a new listener and you're enjoying this adventure, you should also check out Podcast Party Descent into Avernus, as Dungeon Master Matt Gordon leads us to hell and hopefully back in a quest to save the stolen city of Elturel from eternal damnation. We have almost 2 years of episodes available now, and new episodes come out right in this feed every other Monday. Check us out at cast-party.com and follow us on Facebook at CastPartyDND, on Twitter, for now, at CastParty2, on Instagram at cast_party, or on TikTok at cast_party. As always, we're offering monthly free online adventures with our Dungeon Masters. These free games fill up quickly, so if you'd like to grab a spot, you should join our email list or our Discord server. Links to both can be found at cast-party.com. You can now watch episodes of Podcast Party on YouTube, complete with artwork, battle maps, character portraits, and even a little bit of animation. You can also now catch episodes of our monthly chat show, Power Word Talk, on our YouTube channel as well. Check the show notes for the link, or visit cast-party.com. Finally, just a reminder that the December episode of Power Word Talk will be discussing Year 2 of Podcast Party Descent into Avernus and answering listener questions. If you have a question that you would like answered on the show, you can email it to info@cast-party.com. It's also fine to ask questions about Podcast Party Memories of Holdenshire. We would be happy to talk about that on that episode of the show as well. If you enjoy Podcast Party, please follow the show, rate us, and leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. Message us on social media or email us at info@cast-party.com. Follow us on Facebook at CastPartyDND, on Twitter, at CastParty2, on Instagram at cast_party, or on TikTok at cast_party. Thanks very much for listening, and now back to our adventure on the road to the Weirwood.
Now, considering you're on a cart, you can drive down the road to the nearest town, Ringwood, and then make a right turn to another town, which is called Blackford, and follow that road all the way down to Hengistbury and then into the Weirwood. As you drive down the road towards the first town, which is called Ringwood, you talk to Belton. He's sort of grabbing his leg. He pulls out a long piece of cloth and ties it around his leg, and he says, that was a mess. That guy Tariq he's relentless.
Do you know anything about what happened to his sister?
I have no idea. Maybe you can tell me.
Well, she's dead at the bottom of Northminster Abbey, in the catacombs. She was killed by some sort of insect thing. A giant insect thing. Monster.
You mentioned that before. I have no idea what that is.
I could pull out the stinger and show him to prove that there was a bug.
He looks at it and goes, whoa, that's messed up.
Right in the chest, unfortunately.
I'll put it away.
Listen, I don't know very much about what happened down there. All I know is that you guys all came from down there, so probably...
Were you waiting for us?
No, I wasn't waiting for you.
What were you doing there?
I was trying to get in there myself. From what I understand, there was some kind of a secret cult that perhaps is murdering people and maybe has some gold. I was doing some investigation of my own.
Maybe that's what we were doing.
Maybe.
Is he lying?
Make an insight check with that expertise die.
That would be a 20, dirty 20.
All right.
You do not detect any lies from Belton Freedu.
What's the last thing any of you remember before we woke up in that well?
That's a good question, Matt. What's the last thing we remember before we woke up in the well?
You were all in and around the town of Hengistbury.
Well, we now know that we were leaving the town of Northminster. Like, how far is that from Hengistbury?
It is half a day's travel. It's right south of the Weirwood. That's where Granny Appleseed is.
Okay, so we're going back to the last place we remember being.
You're going to the Weirwood, which is directly outside of Hengistbury. So yeah, I mean, essentially you're going back to the last place that you remember being. Yeah.
We think we've missed a month? We have like a month of missed time?
Yeah.
A lot can happen in a month.
Belton says, well, now that we're out of Northminster, a lot can happen here.
Yes, that's true.
Well, with that fracas back there, I know I can't show my face around the city until this is all over now.
Will they follow us?
Probably. Hope you all made some fake identities in case anyone asks.
Do we stay off the road?
That's a great idea. He says, originally I was thinking we could swing by Ringwood and Blackford, but now that's looking to be a terrible idea.
Mercury,
Yes.
you're very, resourceful. Could you make us some identities?
Oh, yes, I have a rich variety of a menu, in fact, of identities to choose from.
Oh, good.
I find them indispensable, but I agree it would be better if we just could avoid the civilized areas entirely. We don't know what we might have done in the past month that might have angered people locally.
Oh, yeah.
But yes, I can certainly come up with something. I'll try to write this while we're moving in the cart. Just try to hold her steady. How about religious missionary? We're bringing the good word to the Weirwood, you know?
I suppose.
We could be tradesmen.
Yeah, I think you're right, because, often people want to avoid missionaries.
Yes, people don't like talking to them very
They
much.
can be rather boring. No offense if anybody hears.
None taken.
What if we were a theatre company? I suppose that would draw attention to us.
Yes, people might then expect a performance. People don't like to talk to clergy, particularly if they feel like they might be on their way to treat the sick, Like, what if we've heard there's an outbreak of something in the Weirwood?
I like it.
So their gods are like the executioner, the gambler, the hunter, the judge, the keeper. Okay, the leper. We're part of a religious mission on behalf of the leper. We've heard there might be an outbreak in the Weirwood, and so we've come to lend what aid we can.
Okay.
Sounds fine.
And that would also allow us to apply some wrappings, that we could use as a disguise, sort of cover us up a bit. It's a good way to get a lot of disguise for very little expenditure of material. Just sort of, we'll go for like mummy, bit of a mummy look. And you can do those sort of insects and rotting things, right, Violet? That might help.
Oh, yes, I can. In case we want to speak to anyone who we might need help from, maybe not all of us should seem as if we are infectious.
Yes, good point. Well, perhaps, I could be your minder or your doctor. I think human this time, as I'd rather expose my... people will be just as angry at me as an elf as they will as a tiefling. So I'll just go for the headband around the ears thing. Pin those back a bit and keep the... Yes, I've still got the binding for the tail, and then just a little bit of makeup. And presto, completely human.
Okay, then.
I have a sewing kit so I can start bandaging whoever wants and sew it together, keep it on.
Gwyven has bandages
Nice.
in his pack, so he can actually use real bandages. And there's a little bit of blood on us, I'm sure, so that will help. And he is also proficient with disguise kits, so he will help Mercury.
Awesome.
Nice.
Oh, look, I've even got a holy symbol for the good old leper here. Oh, it's rather garish. They might have included both feet, at least.
By this time, the horse has run its course, and it just tires out. And Belton says, well, I guess here's as good a place to go as any if we're going to camp out for the night. I'd rather not camp out near Ringwood. Too many guards. They may know about what's going on.
Yes.
Let's just camp here by the side of the road, get a good sleep. There's some wounds, points at his leg.
I would like to help myself to a picnic, courtesy of the Northminster Abbey Catacomb Supply Closet.
Yep, now is the time. When you guys do a long rest, you will take one supply apiece and utilize that at the end of your long rest, on which there is absolutely no interruptions. You will all level up to level 2.
Yay!
Nice.
On the morn, you pack up your belongings. Belton seems a little bit better. He's not limping as much today as he was yesterday. And yeah, you guys are back on the road. Now, Belton specifically says that it's probably a bad idea to go directly through Ringwood, but if you want to be able to get down to Hengistbury, you could take the road as far maybe as 3 or 4 miles towards Ringwood and then go around it if need be. Either on the east side of Ringwood towards the Greyfell Forest, or perhaps there's a bridge across the river towards North Riding. You're not quite sure, but certainly going through Ringwood is probably a bad idea.
Depends how rough the terrain is, though.
Yeah, like what's North Riding like? Like, we're not sure that there's going to be another way across the river, like, until we get...
True. I mean, it's up to you. You guys can go through the hills of North Riding. It's a relatively hilly or grasslands area.
Seems like a better place to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to not go on the east side of the river at all, just because it seems like that's where the road is. That would be more likely to be patrolled. And we don't know for a fact that there's another crossing until all the way down east of Blackford, which seems like that could be a dangerous point to try to cross the river. I mean, I don't know how much we know about North Riding, but I would be inclined to take our chances off-roading, like, directly south from Northminster.
Same.
Unless Belton thinks that's a terrible idea.
Belton says, I'm fine with that. We just have to go through North Riding and then through the Colley Hills.
Fine with me.
Might actually be a shorter trip because we're going to go straight into the Weirwood if we keep going southwest.
Unless, of course, we know these crawly hills are super dangerous, then we obviously wouldn't do that.
I mean, you don't know very much. The furthest you've been into this area of the world that you're aware of is Hengistbury. And then all of a sudden, you were in Northminster. So the area between there and Northminster you haven't really explored, so you don't know. The name of the horse is Rummy Nose, and Belton sort of gives it a little pat on the neck. He says, yeah, you did a good job. You did a good job back there. You guys begin traveling through North Riding. I'd like someone to roll me a d20, please.
All right. 4.
The weather is mild. There's no clouds that seem to threaten any kind of rainfall. It's a nice breezy day as you step through the grasslands of North Riding. As Talingbet wanders off to try to perhaps hunt some of the local fauna, I'm going to go ahead and roll a d4 and let's see who this happens to.
Oh, boy.
Okay, this happens to you, Violet. Violet, as you're sort of watching Talingbet go off into the distance to try to hunt, you stumble across a very interesting thing. It looks like a hole in the ground.
Oh.
You sort of almost fall into it.
Oh, dear.
And as you pick yourself up, you notice that there is a skeletal hand poking up out of the dirt atop this hole in the ground.
Oh, yeah. What sort of hand? A humanoid hand?
Definitely humanoid.
And totally skeletal? No more flesh on it?
Unfortunately not, sorry.
Oh, well, that's okay.
You actually saw where you tripped over. You tripped over a sort of a large stone.
Oh, I would like to see if there's any writing on it.
Chiseled into the stone is a set of words, and they read, "This is the fate of thieves and liars."
Oh. Everybody, excuse me.
Yes?
Well,
Yes?
there's a sort of skeleton hand I've found over here, and an apparent grave, which is also sort of a warning about what happens to thieves. So somebody is taking the law into their own hands in this area, so maybe we should be, on the lookout.
Belton, do you know who might have made this?
I mean, we're not too far out of Northminster, but there's a lot of bad people out here on the roads. So it could very well be a criminal. Could have been a gang member. Who knows?
Right.
They buried them rather hastily and not very well.
Let's leave it and move on.
Yeah, it is what it is. Tillingbed comes back after about 10 minutes with a small rabbit that has been pretty well cleaned already. And Tillingbed throws it into the grass area, and it's going to need to clean that off, but it should be good eating for tonight.
Well done, Tillingbed.
Thank you.
I gaze at the skeletal hand and I say, perhaps we'd better put some more distance between us and Northminster.
Yes.
Keep an eye out.
I'd actually like to try to chronicle, which means I spend some time writing down observations of local landmarks, recording various customs, or charting a map. I can do that with a history check.
That sounds fine to me.
It's a 22. So that's certainly a success on my attempt to chronicle. So I'll say I'll sort of making a map and writing down, like, noting natural local landmarks and things like that as we go. And as a result, I gain an expertise die on future history or survival checks made within or about this region.
Very nice.
Gwyven would like to cover our tracks.
Cover tracks is a survival check. The DC is 12.
And he's going to use like branches that he finds, and he's going to kind of scrape the ground behind him. And he rolled a 21.
That's a success for certain.
All right.
So the good news is that with covering tracks, when you succeed, you put an extra day between yourselves and your pursuers for each day spent
Awesome.
doing this journey activity.
Well done, Gwyven.
Yes.
I think it worked.
Violet, I turn to you. What would you like to do during your time in North Riding?
I'm going to attempt to entertain as we're walking.
To keep our spirits up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that's a performance check.
Okay.
What are you doing? Like, what's your performance?
Well, I'm just saying, oh, this rabbit's nice. And, oh, wonderful. I can't believe there were tracks there at all. It's like no one walked by here at all. And also, do you know, one time I was removing an eyeball, and the funniest thing happened where, usually you use this thing.
And I'm going to attempt to do that thing where, sometimes you get in a conversation with people and you start comparing scars and like just jokes and stories about horrible things that have happened. And it's entertaining. I'm going to try to do that. But telling you about how...
And I didn't have the right thing, so, I used a spoon, which naturally you would because of the shape of it. So I put it in there, and it just popped right out and hit me in my eyeball, which is a very strange feeling because you never thought you would feel an eyeball on your eyeball.
And I'm just going to keep talking while they're doing stuff. I don't think I'm going to be very good at this, but I'm trying
Let's give it a shot.
Yeah. Performance.
Oh, I rolled a 19.
Nice.
Oh, that is a success for certain.
Great.
So with that success, the next time you or an ally would suffer a level of what's called strife, we'll get to that hopefully never, but we'll see, you do not.
Excellent.
If you perform this activity for multiple days, the next time you or one of your allies makes a saving throw against strife, they get an expertise die for each day spent carrying this journey activity. So if you do it for 3 days in a row, they get 3 expertise die to hopefully resist the strife.
Wow, great.
Now, because there's more than one member of the party that can benefit from this activity, you get to choose who benefits from this particular performance.
Oh, great. And this would be to not gain a level of strife if we were to gain
That's
that.
right.
The person that can heal people is...
Mercury.
Yeah, the cleric.
Okay, I will choose to protect the healer.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I'll
well,
be sure to remember that story about the scars and the dead mouse and things.
Yes, well, I very much enjoyed your story about how you twisted your ankle that time. So.
Yes. I'll just I'll keep it in mind if I'm ever feeling down about things.
Yes.
So everyone's done their journey activity. I think we can move on through North Riding to the Crawley Hills. So you take another day. I would say, camp probably in the Crawley Hills somewhere and take another long rest. None of you received any damage or anything like that, but you do lose another supply.
Does the rabbit help at all with that?
He failed his hunt and gather check. He got an 11, which was a failure. So the rabbit ended up not being good enough, unfortunately.
Just a garnish.
Not enough to increase your supply.
So now I have 5 supply. Okay.
I'm going to roll again for the weather. Let's see how it is in the Crawley Hills. All right, it's still clear. The weather has kept up. It's very nice. No sign of rain at all. Someone can roll, please, a d20.
Okay, I'll do it. That's an 18.
The Crawley Hills are beautiful, although at the top of one of the hills, probably higher than some of the others, the 4 of you come to a stop. Through the sky, you are able to see something at a distance, which looks like a flock of birds.
Huh.
But they are much too big to be birds. And you've never seen birds with 4 feet hanging down below their wings.
Perhaps we should get under cover somewhere.
We have a big horse here.
Talingbet says, no. Hold on. I know what these are. They're fine. They are beautiful to watch. And as you all look up into the sky, you are able to catch sight of what it is that you are seeing. And it is a herd of brilliant horses, pure white, with wings on their back. Ooh. And they are galloping across the sky, and as they do so, their wings flap majestically.
Wow.
Do you believe in omens?
Who, me?
Not really.
No.
Belton's like, I don't even know what those are.
Portents. Signs of things to come.
No.
Nah. I don't believe in any of that crap.
You'd be surprised.
Well, do you think it's a good one?
Yes, I'd say it's a good one. I smile up at the Pegasi.
That's all right then.
After a few minutes, they fly out of sight. Now that you are here in the Crawley Hills, maybe a day from the Weirwood, what do you want to do? What are your activities? What are your journey activities that you want to do here?
Gwyven's going to stick with covering our tracks.
I'm going to pray to the trickster after seeing those Pegasi.
What do you say to the trickster?
I say, I noticed those Pegasi. Not sure if they were anything to do with you or not, and I know that sometimes you say things when you mean something else. Learned quite a bit of that myself, but I choose to take it as a good omen, and I hope I'm not mistaken in my belief. But in any case, if you could spare a moment to look out for us, wouldn't go amiss. I'm missing a month, you know, we all are, and very curious to unravel that particular mystery. And I know you love mysteries, so I'm sure you're as anxious as I am to see what I've been doing for the past 4 weeks. Okay, it is a religion check. That is a 15, which I believe is a success.
Indeed, in this area, it is a success.
Great. The adventurer receives a blessing for each day spent doing this journey activity, gaining an expertise die on the next ability check they make in this region. Okay, so I don't know if I will, but if I do, I get a little bonus.
If I entertain people again, can I give that die to someone else? And
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I can keep giving them out.
It says you just can't give it to the same person twice.
Okay.
But other than that, you're good.
Okay, so I will attempt to entertain people for the second day because boy, do I have lots of stories. That's a 20. So I will give that to Gwyven.
All right.
Go.
So, Gwyven, you now do not get a level of strife the next time this could potentially happen to you.
And that's how I made Mort.
Oh, my God.
Lovely story. Gwyven, he was going to cover tracks, but he thinks he did a really good job the day before. So instead, he's going to sneak off a little bit and do some scouting.
All right.
So scouting will require you to make a perception check.
That's a 17.
That's a success. So with a success, you automatically learn one region which adjoins the current region for each day spent doing this journey activity. Well, obviously, you know that the region adjoining it is the Weirwood, which is where you're heading. However, additionally, The whole party gains advantage on perception checks made against any attempts to surprise or ambush you during the period that you are scouting.
Oh.
Nice.
Great.
I looked around. Everything looks good. We're good. Keep going.
And then finally to Lingbet, seeing that you've already scouted, he decides not to, and he will instead hunt and gather
Get us some supper. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. A survival check. It's a 16, which is a success. In doing so, Lingbet gains 1 supply.
Cool.
Another day, and you don't see anybody pursuing you. You can only assume that's due to the amazing acts of covering your tracks and scouting ahead and going through the crawly hills instead of down the roads. But yeah, you guys on the 3rd day come within sight of the Weirwood. And you see it abutting into the town of Hengistbury as you pass close to it. But within the forest itself, you see a small line of smoke coming from within.
Belton, is that where we're going?
Yeah, I believe Granny Appleseed, that's her cottage.
Smoke is coming from a chimney, is it?
I hope so, because otherwise, forest fires and all that jazz, right?
It's better not be a hut with chicken feet.
You've seen a hut with chicken feet?
Well, I haven't seen one in person, no. I've just heard about them.
Yeah, I mean, you guys make your way through the Weirwood, and it takes you probably about an hour of going down some forest trails, and you can actually smell the aroma of freshly baked apple pies.
Oh, yeah.
Belton, you should have led with the apple pies.
I didn't know she was gonna have apple pies for us. I mean, her name is Appleseed. You smell the aroma of freshly baked apple pies before you see a rustic tiny hut and the white picket fence around it. Surrounding the fenced yard about her home are several wild apple trees, many of which bear fruit, even though it is not in season. Belton says, I mean, I've never been. I just know about her, so your guess is as good as mine.
Should we have brought a gift or something?
Maybe a gift would have been nice, but I don't know what she's got. And then, like, the as he's saying this, the door to the cottage just opens. It just swings open. And a rather jolly-looking, plump, elderly human woman emerges, wearing a frilly apron that is pristinely clean and wearing a laurel of apple flowers on her head.
Oh.
Her nose is sort of lumpy and her teeth have a lot of gaps between them, and she sort of got some smile marks at the corners of her mouth, and she looks over at the 5 of you and says, Oh, hello, faces old and new. Come in, come in. I've just put the pie in the oven and the kettle will be boiling in just a minute. Make yourselves at home. And she beckons you all to join her inside.
Oh, great.
Well, she seems very friendly.
Yes, let's go.
So you go into the house, very finely furnished. The smell of apple is just absolutely prevalent throughout the entire house. Just apples and pastry and sugar. It's like inhaling a bakery.
Thank you so much, madam, for inviting us into your home. It's quite lovely.
Oh, 'tweren't nothing. What you here for?
Well, thank you so much for asking. We're here at our friend Belton's recommendation, actually. It seems that the 4 of us are having a bit of trouble with our memory. Part of it is missing. He felt you might be some assistance in that area.
She stops moving around the house and sort of stares at you and says, Memories there? Oh, that's a shame. And she picks up a spoon and starts to stir a pot, sort of looking at you all and says, Well, how did that happen?
Well, we don't remember, you see.
Oh, you don't remember how you lost your memory? Of course, why didn't I think of that?
Do you have time for a story?
From you? Oh, sure, absolutely.
I'm unaccustomed to leaving all of my cards on the table, but we're at loose ends, I'm afraid, and quickly running out of options. So I shall just start at the beginning, shall I? And I will basically relate to her the story of how we all woke up at the bottom of the well in Northminster Abbey and about the horrible insect creature and the woman who said that we were free and how we couldn't remember what happened in the month leading up to that moment. Oh, and also about the robes that we were in. It was a catacombs, but there seemed to be cult activity.
She says, "Oh wow, that's a really awful but interesting story. I don't know nothing about cults up in that city up there, Northminster. I like to
to keep to myself. Me pies, me animals, that sort of thing.
What about the bug thing? Violet, you've got a sort of stinger from it, don't you?
Oh, yes. I'll take out the stinger and explain that it's just a part and, how big it was and stuff.
She looks at the stinger and she sort of stares at it for a second. And her eyes sort of widen a little bit. And she says,
This was in the city.
Yes.
She says,
Oh, my. I'm not an expert, you understand. But if this is what I think it may be, you're lucky to have made it out of that place alive.
What do you think it was?
There are places outside of this world where awful, horrible things lie, waiting just to have some way of entering our world, and if there were enough of them, taking over.
Oh my goodness.
I'm thinking this belonged to one of those creatures. They're called Kalkoi.
Oh.
Have I heard of Kalkoi?
you could make an Arcana check.
I have something called Forbidden Knowledge, and I'm trying to remember what.
I think Forbidden Knowledge gives you the expertise die.
It's you get to apply your expertise die when using Arcana to learn about Forbidden Knowledge.
Right.
Okay, I don't know if this is Forbidden Knowledge.
I think it comes pretty darn close.
Okay.
I did, in any case, get a 20 on the Arcana check with her helping me.
Great.
I think between the two of you, you come to know that Kalkoi, more commonly known as mind wasps,
Ooh.
are parasitic predators that feed on the cosmic principles of good and evil, law and chaos. They are a conquering species, and of the millions of realities in the known universes, they are after all of them, leaving behind deserted heavens and dead gods as they rob worlds of divine magic.
Oh.
I say, I've heard about Kalkoi. It's a sort of existential locust, swarming over all the planes of reality, chewing them up, leaving nothing in their wake. So, that's cheery.
I'm glad it's dead. How did it get here?
Sort of things usually run in packs, I believe. Swarms.
I'd say with a dirty 20, you know a little bit about the biology of this particular type of creature as well. You know that their life cycle is such that they implant larvae into the brains of intelligent creatures. And victims that they have paralyzed with their psychic abilities come to see every Kalkos as an ally to be trusted, and may actually even help a Kalkos implant its eggs in other victims. So when Kalkos larvae are ready to be born, they just burst from the skull of their host.
Ugh.
And the Kalkos spawn fly away to search for new victims.
Oh, God.
We didn't see any of those worm things.
No.
With that 20, would I sort of know mechanically whether the Kalkoi would be considered an aberration?
I think that you would. Granny Appleseed, a little bit shocked and mostly horrified, says,
Oh, my dears, if you're missing your memories from this, I don't know what I can do except perhaps a little bit of magic.
And she draws the spoon from this pot and she swishes it around. And as she does so, threads of seemingly sugar float in the air as she speaks. And as she speaks, it becomes almost like an intonation of a song or a spell. She says,
To set your lost memories free, you must bring me these ingredients 3. A sun inside the sea and found in the lee.
Second one,
A coin you can eat, sometimes new and sometimes sweet.
and then the third one,
What all soldiers need, but is hollow and empty. My backyard or forest go out and seek to help create the lock and the key.
I love riddles. I'm so
Okay,
excited.
I've got the second one. I think I know the second one, friends.
I think I know the third one.
Go on, Gwyven, you first.
Well, the third one's obviously a helmet.
Oh, yeah. But what's a helmet that you could find in a garden or a... what was it she said? She said look in her garden or...
The forest.
Is there a sort of a plant that looks like a helmet?
you probably, well, you know what, Gwyven? Make either an insight or nature check.
I would like to ask Talingbet that, too, if he can think of a plant
Yeah,
that
Talingbet's
sort of
gonna
looks
do
like
the
a
same.
soldier's helmet. Or...
Actually, Gwyven rolled a 17
All right.
on his insight.
You know, Gwyven, that the third of these 3 ingredients is actually a plant called a morel. It's actually a fungus
mushroom.
because a mushroom has a little helmet
Yeah.
top, and it looks just like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Talingbet will also do the same and make a nature check. And Talingbet got a 19.
All
And
right.
Talingbet says, yeah, I know this one. Yeah. Number 2, definitely.
I know number 2.
going-
I know number 2.
Oh, go ahead. You tell me then.
Sorry, Talingbet should work on number 1 because no, fuck all about number 1. Okay. I think that number 2, a coin you can eat, sometimes new and sometimes sweet, as a plant, is mint, because coins are minted, and you can have the newly minted or sweet.
Sweet mint.
Talingbet sort of nods and says, "Yep, that's absolutely correct." The first one is robin eggs.
I don't know how you got there.
Well, because a sun inside the sea, the robin is the red and blue, and found in the lee and inside the forest, in the lee of the forest. Those are robin eggs.
Oh, that was rough. That was a tough one. Congratulations.
I take issue with the author of the riddle there. Yeah, that's madness. That's madness.
Thank goodness.
So you guys all now know the ingredients that are needed for the spell.
Yes, sounds good. Let's go find them.
She's got some mint in her garden, probably. We can probably find that right out back.
Absolutely, yes. Indeed, you go out to her garden, you find mint, grab a whole bunch, bring back. Talingbet runs into the forest, climbs up a tree, goes into a low to the ground bird's nest, checks to make sure that they are in fact robin eggs, and grabs a robin egg. And I guess one of you grabs a morel, a mushroom.
Great.
Yeah, Gwyven will look around for mushrooms.
Bring those ingredients back to Granny Appleseed. And she's, oh, yes, all of them. Please, bring them over. And she takes them all and puts them into a stew pot. And she takes a pastry and puts it over this pot and puts it into her rather oversized oven. And about an hour later, this wonderful smell comes wafting out of the oven.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, almost done, dear. It's almost done. She starts rubbing her hands and licking her lips. And she's, I can smell it. I can taste it already. Your memories will come right back to you, I promise. And opens the stove, takes out the pot, and you see the top of the pastry is bubbling. Steam is coming out the top. And she takes an enormous, large carving knife and just pierces the top. And like a whistling sound comes out. And she's, don't mind that. It's just the magic of steam. It sounds a little bit like a child screaming. Just, never mind that. It's totally fine.
Oh, boy.
It's just the magic. It's fine. And she empties the pot onto a cooling board. And she takes the knife and carves it into 4 slices. Turns to Belton. No, I'm fine. It's totally fine. It's for them. They're the ones who were missing the memories. Oh, yes, of course. And she puts each slice on a plate and offers them to you.
Gwyven will smile and he'll say, I should go first. Dwarf, tough, inside. Gwyven will take his pie and he'll look at her and see what her reaction is to him putting a piece of pie into his mouth.
Just smiling.
Does she look expectantly, like she's waiting for something to happen?
Is she waiting for him to die?
Yeah.
I mean, is there a real big difference between waiting for you to die and waiting
For you to enjoy your cake?
Fair enough.
hands together, just sort of like smiling?
All right, Gwyven will cut a big chunk and he'll stuff a big chunk into his mouth and chew. How does it taste?
Tastes amazing. It tastes absolutely amazing.
Enjoying your cake, are you, Gwyven?
He will swallow.
That's good.
You feel real tired all of a sudden. You feel super sleepy. Like this food hit your stomach and all the blood has rushed out of your head and right into your tum-tum.
Oh, here we go.
And you guys watch as Gwyven just braces himself against the wall, and Gwyven sort of yawns, puts his hand to his head, scratches it, and then just sort of slides down the wall and starts to sleep and snore. No saving throw.
Thanks for listening. This episode featured the Dungeon Master stylings of Matt Gordon, with Andy Cannistra as Gwyven, Carolyn Fox as Violet, Rachel Savicki as Tlingbet, and me, Tal Aviezer, as Mercury. This episode was edited by Carolyn Fox and me. Our original theme music is by Lauren Anker and Anthony DiMasso. Remember, if you enjoy Podcast Party, please follow the show, rate us, and leave us a review. Thanks very much for listening. We'll be back in 1 week with the next episode of Descent into Avernus, and in 2 weeks with the next episode of Memories of Holdenshire. Matt, can you do me a favor and just double check that your mic is your good mic and not your laptop mic?
Sure. Yep. I actually disabled my laptop mic.
Okay, cool.
Does it sound like I'm not coming in appropriately?
No, not to me. It sounds fine to me.
You just don't sound as sexy to me.
You know.
Be more...
He doesn't have his snack filter on.
Gotta turn up the smolder, clearly.
Yeah. It's not as sultry as I expected.
I'm sorry.